And what do we have to discuss?
Well, you have before you the
Excuse me, I
planning.
think I'm in the wrong meeting. This says November 13th.
I know. Pay no attention to it.
So you have in front of you the planning board's report. Now, historically, we have had Paul's magic words that Charlotte has and is
Right.
gracious to read. But under Massachusetts general law, there's a report that comes to the planning from the planning board to town meeting. In the absence of a report, verbal or written, you can't move on any of the articles. So last year, we started doing this in this format with Paul's magic words at the top for the reader who can read that, and essentially which the articles are the planning board has dealt with and what their recommendations are. So this goes to the clerk's office, so they have the official report in the file. Like I said, under Massachusetts general law, the report can be verbal or written. I prefer things written down. So in that, we have the magic words that we had the hearings for Article 5, which is
And
essentially
I
the
still
only.
have to say those? Even
yes,
though
you
they
do.
have one?
No, because you have to notify town meeting verbally.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So looking at this, I see that that report says on Article 5. But we also talked about Article 6 and Article 7. So if you would be so kind, where it says was held on October 1 on Articles 5, 6, and 7. Because while they are not planning board articles, they are articles that were on the warrant for town meeting and ones that we discussed. So Article 5, our article as printed, Article 6, petition article from the Barnstable Fairgrounds, Article 7, recommendation indefinite postponement, and I did note that the planning board is not expecting a motion from the petitioner on Article 7. I also covered this information with the moderator at our pre-town meeting last week to let him know that we did not expect a motion.
But we
on
don't have
Article
to
7.
read this whole
You
piece
do
of
not.
paper, just
Simply
Yes.
the words in the caps at the top there.
and add 6 and 7.
Yes, because we had, so technically Article 20, which we also talked about, isn't a zoning article. So for that reason, it's not on the list. So 5, 6, and 7. In the spring, this report could be 48 pages long. But let's hope we trim it
We
down.
don't have time to
Let's-
decide.
So we have gotten our slides in, we modified them. Pat had called me earlier and had a concern about too many slides on the slideshow, so we took out some of the parts of the form-based code that had the optional articles in it. And
Good.
we inserted the one that basically said that this $49,000 we're requesting is the product of 3 previous studies. The Worcester Court study, although I think it's called Spring Bars Road Study. Spring Bars Road Study, the Davis Strait Study, and the Density by Design, the officially Community Resilience by Design.
Will you also be speaking in addition to the slides, so you're narrating the slides?
Correct. If we need to discuss it.
Well, the narrator might want to say that yes, it's the product of those prior studies. We have studied this a lot. But now what we're expecting from this contract as work products is draft zoning bylaw and perhaps more, draft code to put it into effect. This is the first step to begin to implement. And the public will be invited to. So we can't say exactly what those are going to be because
There's
it's
floors on
modified
that
by the public.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Right at the very front of the slide, it says that the product is going to be draft zoning bylaws to implement.
Hopefully we'll go through in the blanket, we'll have to do it like that.
Fingers crossed, yes.
So the other slide is for Article 5, which simply says to add the 2.5 stories or more by going to the planning board by special permit. The question had came up from a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals, well, why would the planning board be the special permit authority? Why wouldn't it be the Zoning Board of Appeals? But it's design, it's site plan. Because the role of the Zoning Board of Appeals is to vote the use, and the role of the planning board is to vote the site plan. So when you look at a building and what the building is made of and what the building size is, that is clearly site plan issues. The use that goes in it is the realm of the zoning board of appeals.
Mhm.
So they would not be delving into site plan issues, they'd be delving into the use. And that's why that's written that way.
And we are the design review consultant.
We are, yes.
And we did note in our various correspondence and things like that, we did vote our design guidelines, and they're referenced in the slides as well. So if people want to know what the design guidelines are, they're posted on our website. They're easy enough for folks to find, and there's a copy in the town clerk's office as well.
Good report. That's nice. Over now. If there are questions, you'll be answering?
I want to point out something, it's really just a joke. If they object to form-based code, which is really planning for people, and they don't object to the aquaculture plan, which is for $100,000 for clams, we really got something wrong with this town.
As someone once said in a colloquial expression, that's a lot of clams.
But I just wanted to point that out, it's in the same article, so we have it, somebody's targeting us if they let the aquaculture, which is the same pay for clams, and we're talking a place for people.
Yeah.
So I don't really have anything else to report, other than for the folks who asked. Mom's doing as well as she can, and we'll see.
I hope it goes well for her.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to say that as a precinct 5 person, I want to speak against, I believe it's warrant article 19. Sure, could you speak up a little bit louder? Oh, yeah, you know, warrant article 19 is for a affordable housing project on a 12-foot wide road. I don't know how many football fields lengths in from Sam Turner Road, and I don't think we ought to do it. So it has.
We voted for one on the 12-foot wide road on Lewis Lane, had no problem with that, Lewis Neck.
And this is very
We did have
interesting.
problems with that, and it was a mess.
But we voted for it.
Yes, we did.
Well, this is very interesting about, was it Article 19?
Mhm.
Is that if someone asked, would the planning board create a lot there? Well, we don't know until we get an application. But the planning board has recently adopted a policy that says the planning board will consider a right-of-way that's less than 18 feet wide. And we don't have an application for this, so I think it's perfectly appropriate if someone wanted to speak against it, not speaking for the planning board, but to note that the planning board has.
Did we vote on a policy that we're gonna encourage rights of way less than 18 feet wide? I don't remember any vote like that.
No, the
You just
policy,
said we have a policy?
the planning board's policy says the planning board will not consider.
Well,
Not considered. I
Not-
misunderstood you.
Oh,
I thought you were saying just exactly the opposite. I was gonna say I wasn't at that meeting.
No, the planning board would not consider.
what I'd like to say
I'm sorry.
is that it puts the planning board, because of the way it's written, it's definitely coming to the planning board, and it puts the planning board in the position of having to decide whether or not to violate its own bylaws. Because it's 2-acre zoning, and it's saying carve something out. That wouldn't be normal practice whatsoever. And they're going to need a letter of determination that there's adequate access. And I know from driving it that there's not adequate access, so it puts the planning board in a very difficult position. But that's not the only thing against this. There's 3 other points.
Well, much like Article 20, it's not a zoning article, so the planning board didn't necessarily take a position on it. The only reason we took a position on Article 20 is because in the permit that we issued said, fix your access. So that's the only reason the planning board is weighing in on Article 20 for the right-of-way or the easement acceptance by, for Borrego.
There's no need for me to drag that in. No.
But I just want to point out that, we, as you said, you're speaking as a precinct member from Precinct 5.
Right.
And so we don't
Because it
talk
hasn't
about
come
things
before
that
us.
haven't come to us, but
Right.
we have the policies that we've been discussing since May. Those policies are also on the website. So we're trying to make things as transparent as possible and let folks know, before they get here, what's up.
I also think, and if it ever comes before us, this is ridiculous because it was also purchased as a water resource protection area.
Right. It was water quality protection. And to put a septic system on top of it is obviously.
Oh, it's just one, Charlotte.
And.
Come on.
It really is a misnomer to call it affordable housing.
Right.
Because the people on that road they have to pay about $5,000 annually to bring services into each of the houses, so that this house, the carrying costs on it, in addition to whatever they're going to have to pay for their mortgage, they would have to be paying another $5,000 to bring in services, or they would have to be subsidized by the other people on the road, which is very unfair to those people and creates bad neighborhood situations. So it's not affordable. And given its location right above Crooked Pond, it's going to need a denitrification system. It's right in that watershed, and that's expensive. So this isn't really affordable housing at all. And finally, I think it's a really inappropriate and inefficient use of public funds. They would be getting the $65,000, which is the incentive money. They undoubtedly will be planning, because that's their pattern, to come back to CPC and ask for as much as they could get to rehab this old house that should have been torn down. And that's in addition to being given a piece of land.
See,
So
John,
that's a public resource that they're using when it's public policy that we want rental housing on sewer property.
John.
This isn't what we want.
John Drury said that the CPC will not give funds for an existing structure to renovate. Because I was talking to him about, I would like to see the Falmouth Housing Trust buy existing houses and then through 40B, allow them greater density, put 6 units in a big old house. And he said CPC won't fund those.
I would much rather see CPC sort of aggregate its money. Don't hand it out for just 1 or 2 units. Save the money up until you have enough money that you can provide a real strong incentive to a developer to come in, to put in 24 units or whatever. So you really have a lot of units that are legitimately low income, not like spring bars.
We're gonna,
We're having a town meeting discussion here, not a planning board discussion.
We are, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
no, I just want to piggyback on
Talk
that
about it now.
parcel, is we keep moving away from what what our consultant told us in terms of affordable housing and the need in town, which are for 2-bedroom units. And we have to be really careful, because the housing trust, everyone has their own little bailiwick of what they want. And I want to be very sure that we start really honing in on what is it that is the need for the town.
Well, you know this house is a 2-bedroom unit.
Is a 2-bedroom house.
That's a unit. But it's for rental property is the need, and this isn't.
No. So, I'm sorry, I should have added that word
Yeah.
rental.
Thank you.
Because I wonder what the cost of this would be, considering they had such a hard time finding somebody for those condos in that back. At 270, was it?
Right.
Something like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And this is gonna have to come in a lot higher than 270.
And I think that it was the condo fees too that were off
Yeah, yeah.
for North Falmouth.
Yeah, and
So when you consider what Charlotte ferreted out, that it's $5,000 a year, I think it's unfair if this is going to happen, that it's passed, I don't think it will be, but if it were passed under the selectmen's recommendation and then dumped on the planning board, wait a minute,
Yeah.
That's what happened.
are we gonna have pressure on us to?
Well, I think if you fire the first volley, that might set the tone to let you know.
Well, we'll see. There was a lot of discussion about it at precinct 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I was told, I wasn't there.
Yeah. There wasn't anything.
You
at
watch the
70.
pressure that'll be brought to bear on us by these
Yeah.
different groups.
Yep. Well, it's not really affordable housing, so it's not being against affordable housing. There is an affordable housing, they're not all the same. Some are said to be affordable that in fact aren't affordable, and that's what this is.
And Charlotte, I think that's a very important thing, if you're going to speak against this, to bring out that you spoke with people in the area, and it's $5,000 a year that they've got to throw in. You call that affordable?
But we also have to be really sensitive to those people that can afford to move in to certain housing units, but all the ancillary costs are unaffordable. And I think we have to be very sensitive.
I would caution that we probably shouldn't even discuss this.
Right now.
That you can bring it up as a town meeting member, but as a planning board,
We can't-
this isn't our hunt. We're gonna take hits on it, we don't have to, it's not our job.
No.
No,
we can focus on.
I'm looking at this, it's specific,
bigger
but it's
picture.
also more of a generic, larger picture,
Right.
too. that
We
we're
should
speaking
say that
about.
we're really for larger scale rental housing, because that's
On
what, that's,
services.
that's what we've been told we should go after, but don't get into specifics of this fight, because it's gonna be a mud fight.
I think you're right, Jeff.
I don't like them.
Well, it'll be a food fight, how's it like food fight?
Anyway,
Okay, so
I think we need
What kind
to
of fights do you
adjourn.
like?
move to adjourn?